Joining me now is a talented actress who can currently be seen making things difficult for Superman and Lois on the series Superman and Lois S.P. Mannheim, aka the supervillain Onomatopoeia. A super welcome to Daya Vaidya. Daya, welcome to Comic Book Central.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. I had a chance to talk to your TV husband a few weeks ago. He said all kinds of great things about you. We're going to, so you get a chance to say all kinds of great things about him. That's the best part about this.
We love each other. We're like TV soulmates.
Yeah, that's cool, but like dysfunctional on TV, it's a dysfunctional kind of love. We'll get into that, but it's so dark. But okay, here's just a little inside baseball for the listeners. We and for the viewers on YouTube, we're recording this interview the day after the 10th episode of season 3 of Superman and Lois. That was called Collision Course. We're going to talk all about Superman and Lois in a bit, but I've got to ask you, just how rewarding has it been for you as an actress to dig into this particular character?
Oh man, beyond rewarding. I can't even, I sound like I'm gushing a lot because I've been doing these interviews and but it's true. It's just one of those kind of dream moments. This was on my bucket list. This was like playing a superhero, supervillain was on bucket list since age like 11.
Oh, you tapped
Yeah.
into like 3 questions I got coming up. So like did you read comic books growing up? Like,
I
did you?
I I didn't read them yes, I read them, but not like I was a super fandom
Yeah.
person, but I
You
was
don't have
just
20 long boxes in your
no, I
garage.
don't have
Okay,
that,
that's
but
fair.
I wasn't like that, but just in terms of whenever I watch anything, any Marvel, any DC, anything, I was like, God, I want to do that.
Oh,
Oh
okay.
man, I want to do that. It was like that. I wanted to so badly, and then it never happened. And I
Were
was
there
just
particular characters that you were looking at? Because like we live in an age where like almost all of them have been done. Like, it's so cool that you got one that really hasn't been done. But like, were there some that you were looking at that you're like, oh, I'd really love to do that? Was it super villainy? Was it superhero-y?
yeah,
Where do you like?
I
Because
wanted
actors
to wear,
always want to play the baddie.
yeah, the baddie is good. I wanted to wear a suit. Like
Oh,
this,
just a suit.
I needed to wear a suit. I needed it, preferably tight, cool, shiny. And what do? I go into this and it's like a tight black shine. I was like, what? What? With
Yeah,
the boots, and then you get the boots. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know. There's something about getting in those clothes, and then it's the stunts. I
Hmm.
just want to do the cool stuff. I just want to also just be in that world, in the world where you have powers.
Yeah.
I
Well,
want
like
power.
back in the day that like you like to get powers, it was really difficult. And actors and actresses didn't want to wear the suits because it was just spandex. Like you really could now, I think thanks to X-Men, maybe like around that era, it was like leather and like built in muscles and this.
Yeah.
So it's probably a lot easier, I think, maybe to segue into those, right? Is that maybe
Yeah.
like, and how does that help you get into the character once you get the look? How does that
Yeah, they've
impact you?
upped their game for sure. They've majorly upped their game. The costumes have its own special team that help you get into them. It's definitely one of those things. The second you put it on, especially my mask, when I had to wear the
Mhm.
mask, the second you put on the costume and you put on the mask, you're in it. You're just in it.
Yeah.
I'm automatic. I transform immediately. So
How like what
yeah.
does that do to you? Because it's one thing to read the script and go, oh, I think I get, but when you're on the set and you're facing off against either Superman, Tyler Hoechlin, or or you're having scenes with Chad Coleman, your TV has, what does that kind of do to you? Just not only from a physical standpoint, but from a mental standpoint. How are you able to access some things?
Yeah, it gives you strength, just completely straight up strength. I mean, first of all, you're bigger because it gives you weight and it gives you height, and you're in these shoes and then you're walking, and it just gives you that kind of feeling of power, that power feeling that you
Yeah,
just, and it's so cool to be able to have that, especially, just to have fun and playing that. Yeah, that's what it did for me. I could stare Superman down like I was
nice.
gonna.
Yeah, because like normal people, like when we're dealing with customer service or something, I do this as a phone. Like, not that anybody even knows what a phone is anymore, but yeah, I know. But it's like you're so powerless in things. But then, like, do you step onto the set and you're like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I own this space. I own this
Oh yeah.
space.
It's super mental. I mean, you have to do that. I think I liken it to an athlete before a game. It's
Oh
it's the
wow.
same thing to me. I get game ready. Like when I'm
Yeah.
a roll like this, before when I wake up in the morning, it's all like, all right, guys, and step on the set. Let's do this. I mean, and so was Tyler. Tyler was the next football player.
Right.
So So he's an athlete. I'm an athlete. I was just like, let's, it was game time. That's what it was.
So you guys are in hair, makeup, and wardrobe, and you're just like, like high fiving each other and like chest bumping and fist bumping, and
We're
all
hyping
right.
each other up. I'm doing that more. Like Tyler's like, okay, Daya, like take it down.
Well, because I think he has to be reserved almost. It's almost like, I think as Superman, I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet, but it's almost like he has to pull back a little bit. Oh, I want to talk about what you do physically,
Yeah.
but we'll talk about that. Let's jump back a little bit. Raised in Oakland, California, but that's not where you were born, right?
No.
Okay. Where were you born?
Yeah, super crazy. I was born in Kathmandu, Nepal, the foot of the Himalayas, because I had a hippie mom who was traveling the world.
So when we see Raiders of the Lost Ark, and there's that shot at the bottom of the Himalaya, and they're in Nepal, and it's Marion's bar right there, like that's where you were.
Apparently, my mom. I
Okay.
was only 2.5. I was born and I left when I was 2.5. But every time we see a movie, she's like, "That's where you were. That's where we were.
Have you
That's where
gone
the
back?
hospital was." I have
You-
not. My sister has, but I have not. I've been back to India. My dad is actually Indian. My dad was. He passed away. He was Indian, but my mom was a traveler. Those days. So yeah, that's where
Okay.
just crazy. Born there, but raised in Oakland.
What brought them to California? Like I mean, that's not a easy
I
move.
know.
Like it's not like you're
So
moving from Pennsylvania to Ohio or something.
I know. She was from LA. She did grow up in LA, and then
Oh, okay.
they had friends in Berkeley. So it was
Okay,
like
there's a connection.
there was a connection. She went to Berkeley. She was I'm a UCLA,
Okay.
but yeah. Mhm.
Where did the interest in dance come from? So you mentioned like you like comic books, you like superhero film, but like was it more just performing? Was it acting? Was it dance? Because I know you've got a huge dance background, right? And a theater background.
Yeah, yeah. I think I was just born, like my mom always says, I was born to perform. I was one of those kids. You just put me out and I was not shy. I was never shy. I always wanted to be out front. So she was like, what can I do to this child that can keep her from like calm down, So she put me immediately in dance, immediately in theater, just from the youngest age. And so I started doing it young, and it was just, the bug hit me young, and then I continued dancing because I loved to dance, and I went to New York to dance, and I danced at Ailey, and then a theater, but acting was my thing. That was my true passion and love. So I went
Okay.
back to school and finished
What
my
was it about that? Because I want to talk about your dance background as we get into Superman and Lois, because Chad mentioned he's like, she really channels that over. Like, but what was it about acting? Like, were there inspirations? Did you see movies? Were there things that what did you tap into that made you want to just act? And really, I
uh,
think you did a lot of theater work too, right?
Yeah, theater. It was theater. My mom took
Yeah.
me, my parents were big artists people, and they took me to plays when I was really young, and I was just enraptured by the stage of like getting up on stage and just doing that. Like I said, I was literally 10 years old and I
Wow.
think 9 or 10 when I saw my first play, and I was done. Rap. That was it.
Yeah.
And I
Do you
was like,
remember what the play was?
it was Guys and Dolls.
Okay.
It was Guys and
A
Dolls.
big production. That's a
Yeah. And I was just like hooked. And then I think I did Annie right away, and Fiddler on the Roof. And then I did West Side Story. I did all of them. I
okay.
was just,
So
yeah, I
the
was.
musical, so there's the tie, the acting and the dancing and
Mhm,
okay, so you're just seeing it all as one big
mhm.
thing. So
Yeah,
do
one big art.
you are you doing theater now, or when was the last time you did theater? Like when was the last time you tread the boards?
Yeah, it's been long. It's been a while. I'm part of a theater company in North Hollywood, so I still have my feet in it, but it's just now it's more film and television, television, and so I'm not doing it as much, but I'm always down. It's just a matter of the time. It's a lot of time. It's
Yeah.
hard when you have kids.
Well, that true. And like you could do TV and probably, the earning, the paychecks, like I mean the theater. Plus, you're
Yeah,
doing what, eight shows a week or something? Like, I mean,
yeah.
it seems like that would be just a lot, but
It's
maybe the creative aspect may be fulfilled a little bit
Yeah,
more.
but I
So,
feel like doing these that's what so Superman and Lois gives me that theater bug, and that like because it's so, heightened, the
okay.
heightened aspect. So I kind of get that vibe out. And but I gotta say, I do miss being on stage. So if something came along, I'd be definitely down.
Well, we know what you're probably going to head into next, but I talked about that with Chad too, because it's like you're watching a Superman show. And look, you can see if you're watching YouTube, there's just all Superman stuff around me, but it's like, I'm watching a Superman show. My wife and I are watching this and we're like, we haven't seen Superman in a long time. but I'm engrossed in these two people that are sitting at a table, and then their kid comes in, and then all of a sudden I'm over at Lana Lang and her ex-husband and her kid. I'm like, we're engrossed in all these stories, and then, oh, by the way, Tyler shows up with a cape later,
Yeah.
and we're like, oh, I forgot he was in it. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
how amazing is that?
Yeah. It's the human part. I think the writers wanted to go in this direction to really, humanize this story, because Tyler can always do that, and he's awesome at that, I think, but we wanted to just show this other thing where cancer is the
Yeah.
villain, you
Yeah.
know?
That's a
And
good way of putting it too. And it's like, again, with Superman, he's Lex Luthor, we do it, but we're fine. We're seeing something that he can't control. We're seeing something that Superman can't take care of.
yep.
And I think that tapped into something, and that allowed the storytellers to go in a different direction, to have that it's almost an ensemble cast
Yeah.
at this point. I mean, I know he's number one on the call sheet, and they're number one and number two, but it's like, this is an ensemble show. It's just, it's amazing. Well, you got us into it. Okay. When I talked to Chad, I mentioned to him that if you're watching the YouTube, this is his first appearance. Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen was in.
Yeah.
That's Bruno Mannheim. He said he's got to go get that. Do
Wow.
you, Daya? Do you have
That you have
Green
that.
Arrow Volume 3, issue number
No.
12?
How do you have?
Because I have like 20,000 comics in the back room there because I'm a nerd.
Oh, you're amazing.
Yeah, well, but did anybody get that for you?
No, but that's incredible. I did
You
only
know the significance of that issue.
No, tell me.
That's where Onomatopoeia shows up.
She shows up in that. Seriously?
He does.
Because it's a man.
Originally, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Wow. I did all that online. I feel like I
Okay.
just did everything online. I didn't have you see, you're like old school and for real. You're the one.
I think I made your gift getting easier for people this year. You're going to get like 20 of these.
Oh yeah, you got to write that. Okay, write that. That's crazy. I have to.
All right. So it's Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith created it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
With Phil Hester, artist. What did you know about the character going in? Like, it's a pretty obscure character. I think even Kevin, what's the quote he said? I think the character works great in print and on a comic book page. I don't think it would translate very well outside of that. Well, I beg to differ.
He loved that he said that. Oh
yeah, right.
We're like,
right.
oh sure, Kevin, let's watch us.
Right, because you're supposed to like say but like if it's blam of a gun, that onomatopoeia says blam, but it doesn't really. But you don't do that. Like, what did you know about the character?
Yes, I did. Once I found out, because it was a secret until I had the role. So I didn't even know until the writers told me. So I had no idea it was onomatopoeia. And then once I found out, again, the theater background, I looked up everything. I didn't find that, but I sure looked up everything I could get my hands on. And so I was just like, how can I make this visual? How do I make this visual? Right? The sound visual. That was So even though it's not blam, 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 my whole thing was the dance background. How do I physically make it powerful? And so all those, killing with my voice, that's all auditory, but it looks visual on the show. You know what I mean? But that's sound.
I actually do, because here's a little inside baseball, and I talked about this with Chad. When I'm watching CW will send me a screener copy ahead. I actually get to watch last night's episode live, or as it airs. But in talking to him, I got to see Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Yeah.
I think it was episode 8, and you guys are in the alley, and you're okay. But I got to see a version pre-special effects, which may be how you see it. Is that how you sometimes see the screen, like copies that come in?
I did not. The only way I saw a little bit of that was on set when they showed me, because I was trying to get an idea of just what they want. So no, I only saw a little bit. So that's huge that you saw that.
Okay, because we're watching this, and it's like insert, like for Tyler, it's like insert vein bulges here. Yeah. Like they'll say they insert fireball here or something, and we're watching this, and you're doing your thing, and they hadn't added the visual effects yet of the audio, the sound waves, I guess, coming out. And my wife and I turned to each other and went, I don't think they need to do anything with her. I don't think they're going to add anything. I don't know what that says about your acting abilities, but it's freaky, man. Like, how do you do that? Can you tell our listeners and our viewers like what you do? Because you did something with your neck that I thought was your I thought it was a special effect, but it wasn't.
It was not a special effect. It was
What
my
the
neck.
heck
It
is
was
that?
like it was like, well, because I was starting to do it and the director was like, Daya, what are you doing with your neck? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just, again, I'm very physical. So
Yeah.
it was like all my energy. And so what he did, that was the director who said, you guys, he literally told the DP, get a close up on her neck. Let's
Mhm.
do some close ups. And then it was the director who was like, let's go in tight. So that's all that was. They just went tight because I don't know. I just was straining. I didn't have I probably hurt my voice on that day.
Did you? Oh, okay. There's some inside baseball because I'm wondering, like, how did she land from this? Because it's so, like, you throw yourself into it. So I'm not going to have you do it now because it'd probably kill you right now. Yeah,
I mean, it's literally you like all this. I can just, I mean,
it
yeah,
was unreal. But like your whole body, and Chad had mentioned, like, because of your dance background, like you're able to throw your whole body into this. So it's not like you are the special effect, you are the visual effect
I was
that they
trying to
just
do as much.
enhance.
I was trying to do as much as I could without them
Yeah.
having to add. That was my goal. Like
Yeah.
I told them, can you guys, and they gave me permission. I was like, you guys, is this going to mess you up if I like go really far? And they're like, no. And once all they had to say was, you can go really far. I was like, oh, you shouldn't tell me that.
Wow. That
I was
is
like,
just
and I
amazing.
told the directors, you have to pull me back because I'm going to
Yeah.
go like ape. It was Predator and Alien were my two like visual things. Sigourney Weaver and the alien in that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was my like visual thing. I was channeling.
Yeah. Because you go
So
somewhere strange. And then we watched it with the effects the next night, and we
yeah,
both looked at each other and went, they didn't do a whole lot. They
yeah,
didn't have to
yeah,
add a lot.
yeah.
Wow.
It was a trip. I watch cringing. I'm always like, oh, is it too much? But like, I don't know. I just have
No,
fun. I just go in.
no, it
That's
sold it. No, it
yeah.
sold it. This role, and what P is dealing with, you have a very personal connection to it, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell our listeners a little bit about that?
Yeah, so crazy enough, I am a cancer survivor 2 times, which is nuts. I got cancer when I was young, like super random. I'm very healthy, but it just was like not in my family, not I mean, my dad died of cancer, which was
Mm.
messed up. And when I was younger and I was a caretaker, and then I freaking get cancer. I was like, really? Really? That's messed up. So this was a nice, I'm gonna say, to go audition and then it said cancer. I was like, oh, this is a way to turn that mess around to something good. You know what I mean? That's how I look. I
Yeah.
was like, full circle. And
Yeah.
so I felt like I could dive into it and it was real cathartic and I processed a lot of stuff on set and it was pretty, I don't know if Chad talked about it, but me and Chad had some moments. I
He
don't know if Chad,
didn't, and I'm always, I'm always wondering. Like, I know you probably have a message for folks who are dealing with cancer. So I mean, feel free to say. I know you're a big advocate, of cancer awareness and just
yeah.
all the research and everything. So whatever message that would be, but even whatever you could share with us from on set of how you what you tapped into emotionally.
I think the key is you can't hold back your vulnerability. Because even though I think it was that thing where she's a killer, she's a villain, but this struggle is bigger than that. So I couldn't hold back from that. I had to kind of relive all my stuff. I couldn't be
Mm.
scared. And there's a fearlessness that goes into fighting this disease. And people don't understand that you're truly facing, and I say it in the show that the writers used my words. So those were my words. When I talked about the pull in the very beginning, Pia talks about to Tyler, she's going to feel it's the pull. And he said, what's the pull? This is the pull. Because that was something I explained to the writers that there's a pull to want to die. Like literally, like there's a pull to want to, I would say die, just give up.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pull to want to give up. And my message and what I went through was like, oh my God, but what's on the other side of this? Just go through the fire. Go
Yeah.
through the fire and you will make it. You just have to really just take it on and believe in yourself that you
It
can.
it's interesting, because watching that back, we both thought, my wife and I both thought, like, oh, somebody, whoever wrote that, had been through this experience. And it's interesting to
Yeah.
know that those are some of your words. And now that
Yeah.
I know, on this side of it, it's like, oh, she did survive this. Um, yeah, that's just unbelievable. And you mentioned that juxtaposition between the character. She is working on a different level. It's, well, maybe like 3 levels, because there's the family thing, and there's a supervillain thing, and then there's the fighting cancer thing. How have you gone back and forth through all those? Because even the episode we watched last night, you go from you're dying, you're almost at the end, and you're starting to break down, and all those barriers, those walls are starting to break down. But then you're confronting Bitsy Tulloch as Lois again, and when you get, spoiler alert, hopefully I'll throw a spoiler alert at the beginning of this, but you go back to that supervillain play. Like, how have you been able to bounce back and forth between that?
I think the bottom line, everything in every scene was about surviving. Like that was, if I'm having to go against Steele, Wole Parks, who plays Steele, like
Yeah.
I'm loving his daughter, right? But then he comes in and he's threatening my family. Well, that's about survival. Like, don't, you know what I mean? I have to live. Like everything was about, so the switch was always like, okay, I'm nice, but wait a minute, are you threatening me or my
Wow.
family? Then I'm going to switch on you, as many people would, right?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
going to be nice until your life is on the line. And you'd be surprised at how fierce you get.
That's you were the henchman of Boss Moxie.
Yeah.
And so that's that background coming back in.
Yeah.
But then those scenes with you and Betsy, and it's so crazy to me that as we record this could be completely changed in a few weeks, but as we record this, like, we have no idea what the future of Superman and Lois is. If there's going to be season 4, is it going to be on Max, CW, whatever. And we should be talking about how you and Bitsy should both be nominated for Emmys, because it's, you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not just saying, like, you can't watch those scenes between the two of you and not just get totally sucked in. How do you two rehearse ahead of time? Do you hit it cold? What do you talk about with Bitsy to get to those places? And I'm talking about like those scenes where you're just getting cancer treatment in a chair.
Yeah.
Then it's the confrontation of supervillain and super reporter.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, thank you for saying that. That's really that's a very big compliment. She and I are similar in that she's a research junkie too. So the two of us, from the day one of meeting on set, she was like, "I heard you had cancer. Tell me everything." And I was like right away. She's very blunt, and she's just like, "Tell me." I was like, "Cool." I mean, she's literally, and she's
Lois Lane.
open. Yeah, she's Lois Lane. She's like, "Give me the information," and I was like, "Cool, okay." And then we were just literally face to face, like, "Give it. Let's go. Let's." She was really like willing to play ball. Do you know what I mean? When you're sitting across, Chad was like this too. They're all like this. If you're willing to play ball, you can play. Do you know what I mean? There's someone across from you who's super open. Well, it's like jazz and dancing. That's how I felt with her. She was giving it to me, and I was just looking at her face like, and she's affecting me and I'm affecting her. It was kind of crazy. It was deep.
It got real. Well, that's theater too, isn't it? Isn't that the best part of theater, that you can't say cut, you can't say take two.
Yep.
The audience is either going to buy it or they ain't.
Yep.
And isn't it that live aspect of this has to be real in the moment? And I think that's what sets the show apart. Yeah, that's insane to watch those scenes between the two of you, and just going up against Tyler as Superman. Like, I know you said you read comics and you want to be super, but to go toe to toe with Superman, the greatest of all superheroes, and to knock him around, because not many people get to do that. I get there's wires, I get special effects, I get it, but still, at the end of the day, what does that do for you?
Yeah, I mean that, and I always tell people, without kryptonite, she's able to go toe to toe. Onomatopoeia is able to go toe to toe without kryptonite. That's shows how vast her power is. And to tease the upcoming episode, you're going to see even more of that's going to be. You're going to see.
I was going to ask, can you give it this Complications, right? Episode 11.
Yeah, there's some,
and it's directed by
Jay Jameson,
and he pitched Onomatopoeia.
Yep.
So this is like a Onomatopoeia centric.
Ep. It is. And
can you tease us about anything that you? What can you tell us?
Okay, so I don't know if remember the end of last season, the worlds colliding, and you don't think you can get bigger than two different worlds. It's like on that level. You're dealing with power that is so massively huge in Onomatopoeia and Superman. it just can't be contained. It's you got to watch to see what happens because and I will say going in front of Tyler again, he's an athlete. So he's got super work ethic, so he doesn't tire. So you better be ready. You know what I mean? You better be ready to go for real, not just as the characters, but physically. You know, he can stand up. He has stamina, like crazy stamina. Tyler is like, whoa. So I was like, okay, all right, Tyler, let's go. It was in those scenes you'll see coming up 2 and 11. They're not easy. You have to hold your stand. I mean, you're really doing this stuff. There's a lot of physical activity going on. So
all right, so Bitsy's Lois and Tyler's really Superman. We get that. It's real life. Thank you for giving us that tease. We're going to wrap up here. Just real quick, favorite experience working on Superman Lois?
Pick one, just the cast and the character.
All right. That's fair. What's next? So hopefully, from what you're teasing, we need a season 4 because you have to come back. Hopefully,
season 4. It leaves on a huge. All I can say, there's a cliffhanger. The thing,
okay,
like if they don't give us season 4, fans are going to be so angry because you can't. No, it is just there's too much happening.
It's got to come back.
Season 4. Yeah,
it's got to come back. But like I know there's a writer's strike. I know everything's on hold right now, but you've got stuff in the can. Is it Blackhamptons?
Yeah, Blackhamptons. I'm working on. I'm still working on that right now because that was already written
ahead of time, so you get to hit the ground running with that. That's on BET. What else? Social media.
Yeah, I got my social media. I'm doing, and I'm just starting to do press right now on this. And then we have some other things that are lined up. And as soon as the strike is over, it's all systems go. And my husband's a writer, producer too. So we have some projects.
Okay. So he's just sitting, is he just like making sourdough bread? He's
oh
just
man, I make the sourdough bread, by the way.
You make, okay.
I'm one of those, and I still do it since pandemic. I love it. I'm still making it. But yeah, he's out there, he's picketing.
He's on the line. Okay.
Yeah, he's on the line. He's WGA. He's WGA.
Oh, okay. So okay. Hopefully that gets resolved and get everybody back to work as soon as possible. And season 4, right? Let's hope, because somebody's going to knock Superman around.
You got to bring it back. It's just a great show. I mean, I don't see. Yeah, it's gonna. I'm just gonna say it's gonna come back. I'm gonna believe. Let's
keep positive, and that's what gets you through everything, right? Just keep that positive mental attitude to get you through anything. It's good for every aspect of life. Daya, thank you so much. This is a fantastic character. We love watching it. We want more continued success. And thank you for joining me on Comic Book Central.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.